Welcome to Empowered by Iron, the podcast for female strength athletes by female strength athletes. We are your hosts, Dr. Kristen Lander from Fiercely Fuel Nutrition Coaching and Dr. Mary Morton, scientist and weightlifter. Together, we are Empowered by Iron.
Hello, strong ladies. The number one question that Mary and I get asked by powerlifters and weightlifters who compete is, how should I eat on meet day? So finally, after being asked that question dozens of times, I created a free meet day meals guide for you guys. So it's for powerlifters and weightlifters. It works whether you have a 2-hour weigh-in or 24-hour weigh-in. And it's going to tell you how to rehydrate after weigh-ins and how to eat to get the most out of your performance on meet day. So if you want to download it, go to the link in the Empowered by Iron Instagram profile, and you'll be able to download it there. If you use it, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear your feedback.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Empowered by Iron. This is Mary, as per usual, with Kristen.
What's up?
We are not in our usual location, are we, Kristen?
We are on the scene.
Scene where?
Bama Burr's kitchen.
I'm looking at a fridge and a trash can and Bama.
Well, I thought you were talking about me when you said you were looking at the trash can, but whatever, understandable.
the strongest trash can on the block.
Pretty much.
So last time we had you on, okay, so for you guys listening, we've been here for about like 4 hours and we have not recorded one thing. So
we've just been talking.
I like to talk. I'm sorry. I have a lot to say.
We've just been getting going. So Stacy, last time we talked to you, you were going to the Open and that was going to be a big deal and you were sick and things happened. And I think everyone's, not to sound like TMZ like, but everyone wants to know why.
Well, let me tell you guys. I went to the Open and I didn't have the outcome that I was looking for. I went there looking to take back my all-time world record at 148, and I also went to win. I always go to win. That's always my main goal and focus, is to win. I want to prove that I am the best in the world, and every time that I leave and I go to a competition, that's my plan, is to come home the number one. And that clearly didn't happen. I didn't have the best day. I had some situations that I was going through, some personal things that definitely came up and caused some issues with my training, with my recovery. It just really turned out that what I thought I was doing, I was spending a lot of time focusing on my training. I was spending a lot of time focusing on recovery. After I, got out of the hospital and whatnot, because I had a stint in there. But
that was what, like 2 weeks before?
Yeah, I think it was a 2.5 weeks. So it was really whenever my training was supposed to be at the highest, like at the peak phase, that I started experiencing some problems, and it really hindered my recovery. It really hindered where I needed to be for the prep, not only physically, but mentally as well, because obviously, it took a little bit of a toll on me. I could tell myself that everything was fine. I could walk, I could listen to my, motivational speeches, but I really knew that I wasn't where I needed to be or where I intended to be. But a lot of the thing is, there are some things that needed to happen in order to bring attention to things that I really hadn't paid much attention to. So where I was, and I was giving my training my 100%, and that's always what I do, is I give everything 100%. Well, I just completely didn't really realize that the environment that I was in wasn't the best, and I was a lot more stressed than what I need to be. I wasn't putting myself in a position where I could grow. So although I was training as I should, I was giving my best effort there, my best effort wasn't quite enough, because I was taking, the situation that I was in, and it affected me adversely, and I didn't realize it until it did. And so
until it counted.
Yeah, until it counted. And on the platform, I gave my all, and my all wasn't enough. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And just to be 100%, transparent with you guys, that was one of the worst situations that I've ever been in. From a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, I wasn't healthy. I wasn't healthy in any way, shape, form. And after that meet, I didn't even stay for awards, and I got a lot of backlash. People said that, I wasn't sportsmanlike because I didn't stay. But really, I wasn't where I needed to be mentally, and I had a really, really hard time coping with that. After I missed my second attempt and third attempt deadlift, It was a little bit of a ballsy jump, but it was what I needed to make it happen. And so, of course, I went for it because I knew how hard I'd trained. And I knew that the work that I had done, it was enough to pull that weight. It was, I think, 546, and I knew that I was capable of it. I knew I was capable, physically strong enough, but it just didn't happen. It wasn't there. And so for me, knowing that I was capable of something, but I couldn't demonstrate it, it really put me in a really bad place. And where I ended up after I left and I didn't stay for awards, I ended up on my hands and knees in the parking garage at the convention center, at the U.S. Open, whenever you're giving out awards. I was on my hands and knees crying and trying to figure out why, what did I do wrong? And I was at my lowest point there. It made me really question not only what I was doing with training, but what I was doing with my life, and I contemplated like suicide. I contemplated, why was this happening all to me? It made me think about just things in a lot of different perspective. And for me, what I thought was weakness, or what I thought was a bad thing, I didn't know how I could come back from this. I'd given it every single thing I possibly could. I didn't know what I was going to do to bounce back, but me being so vulnerable and me being at my lowest of lows in the bottom, literally underneath the ground in a parking garage, that's where I needed to be. And that was where I was supposed to end up, because I was supposed to be able to break down so I could really see what I was doing to myself and the environment that I'd put myself in and all the things that outside circumstances and factors. It's not just always about your training. It's not just always about what's in front of you. It's about actually recognizing and seeing the things that are in front of you and making the change in order to grow and to get better. So the outcome wasn't what I expected. The outcome wasn't what I wanted, but sometimes it's not all about what you want. It's about what you need. And that's really what needed to happen for me in order for me to grow and be the person that I am today. And I've really since then, that was what month was that?
Was it May?
April or May?
April, May. Yeah, it was a while ago. Because we're in November.
I still remember it like it was yesterday. But that was my eye-opening experience for the year. That was my first eye-opening experience for the year, that I really realized that I could be broken. I could be broken. I want to be, the strong leader for everyone. I want to be the voice. I want to be the one that always says, just keep going, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. But what do you do whenever you're the leader of the pack and you don't have anybody to have your back, and you don't have anybody that's telling you, hey, Stacy, it's going to be okay? What do you do whenever you're on your hands and knees crying and you can't figure it out? Well, you just stand back up, and you got to find a way to stand back up. And you've got to find a way to improve yourself, improve your situation. And what I've really done is something that I've not been good at. I've actually recruited a little bit of help from other people, because I have a hard time, and this is just factual, I have a hard time actually asking for help.
What?
Imagine that, I'm so young, I'm so hard-headed, and I think that, I can do it all myself. If it was up to me and I was building a house, I could not know how to do anything, plumbing, electricity, but I'd do it myself. I do it myself because if I do it, it's going to be done right, and I don't have to worry about bothering anybody, or I don't have to worry about, having to go back behind anybody. I want to do everything myself, and that's just always how I have been, and I never like feeling like an inconvenience. I never like ever bothering anybody. But what I did was I reached out to people that I knew could help me, because I knew I needed help, and I knew that it was help, not just in the sense of training, but in the sense of, my mental standing and everything. And so I needed help. And so I reached out, and I didn't even have to reach out that far. All I had to do was let people know that there was an issue, that there were problems. And as soon as I made it known that everything wasn't okay, I had people just swarming to me just to help me, to lend me a hand, to be, if I had issues with my shoulder mobility, or if I had issues with my training, I had pain, people wanted to help me fix it. People wanted to help me fix all the things that were broken about me without me even having to ask. And that was just really overwhelming to me, because somebody that's so just stubborn, but so strong, I didn't want to need anybody else. But accepting the help from everybody else and everybody that's been around me, just the people that really want to see you succeed, they will help you, and they'll always help you, because that's what people do. That's what givers do. Givers give and takers take. And so one of the things that I've really realized now is just being able to identify the people that I really need in my life, because for the longest time, I've always just wanted to give to everyone. I've always wanted to help everyone. But you also have to realize that in order to help other people, in order to be a giver, you can't give if your cup is empty. You can't pour from an empty glass. And for where I was, I gave so much, and the people that were around me, really all they did was take. And so I really had to find a way to improve myself so I could give back to other people. And so I accepted help. And through like me being vulnerable, me being at my lowest, has helped me come back and be even stronger and better than ever. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm happy that I went through that hard time. I'm happy I didn't get what I want, because had I got what I wanted, I never would have known a third of the things that I know now. And that's just reflecting from months ago. So I'm excited to see where I actually end up.
Well, you're taking time to get to know yourself. And I think that you haven't had that opportunity yet. And so now you're at a place in your life where you can fall in love with Stacy. Who is Stacy? What does Stacy like to do? I
don't really know. I thought Stacy was Stacy, and I thought Stacy liked to train, and I thought Stacy liked, all these things, but really I've gotten time to get to know myself better, to know myself on a mentally, a spiritual, like a much deeper level, because my self-worth really revolved a lot around powerlifting. And I hate to even say that, because, I realize now how, just funny that actually is, or how it doesn't make sense. Like, my total is not a relationship, or, not a reflection of who I am, period, dot. And if I ask you my best total, could you tell me what it is? Probably not. And so a lot of my value I placed on just how well I performed. And that's something that I've really, really looked into. And that's not even close to the case. Nobody really cares about the weight that you lift. It's about the people that you're moving with the weight that you're lifting. It's about doing these astronomical things, about these astronomical feats of strength. And the only thing is, it's just something that you couldn't do previously. And that's what it's all about, is progression. It's about getting better every single day. It's about overcoming these obstacles, whether it's weight on a bar, or whether it's, finding yourself in a bad mental space and getting over it. What I want to do has way, way bigger of an impact than just moving a deadlift or, pressing a weight off my chest. It's really being able to stand with a weight on my back and stand up from it. And, that's like how life is. Life is, the whole analogy to the squat, it really is. It's about how much you can take and just stand back up with it. Because what I did in theory is I had a weight on my back, and I had this weight on my back, and I let me collapse. I let it just, take me down with it, and I wasn't able to stand up. But eventually you're going to find a way. You're going to walk again. You're going to stand up again. And once you finally stand up, you're going to stand up even stronger than what you were before. And so I've really found myself in failure. I've found myself in failure because through this failure, I've really analyzed what I really want. Like, is failing just not getting what you want, or is failure's not final unless you want it to be? If you keep standing back up and if you keep showing up, you never are going to fail. Failure is just going to be something that teaches you along the way. And it's one of the best, it's one of the best directors I've ever had. Failure is one of my best friends, because every single time that I've felt low, it's because I've failed. But it's every single time that I've felt low that I've been able to stand up even stronger. And so me, who I am, I realize that I have a lot more to offer than just moving weight. I want to move people. And I've found that my self-worth is so much more than weight on a bar. I want to do things beyond weightlifting. I want to do things beyond powerlifting. I want to do things to inspire other people. I want to tell my story. I want to tell people that I literally thought about suicide. I couldn't find a reason to wake up in the morning without feeling disappointed, without feeling like I was a failure, without feeling like I'd let all my fans, all my followers, all my supporters down. I just felt like I was nothing. But that has nothing to do with any of it. Moving a weight or not moving a weight, getting 3 red lights means nothing in comparison to what it means to really just be an inspiration and be a motivation to people. And that's what I want to do. And so I've really just found my values. I found my values and I've realigned myself to where I need to be. And so I'm really, really excited about that, because I now know who I am. I now know who I am and who I am singularly, not as a group, not as a whole, not as a partnership. I am Stacy Burr. I am Stacy Burr, and I know what I stand for, and I know what I'm willing to do. I know that I'm the best in the world, but best in the world at what? I'm the best in the world at being me. Maybe I will, continue pursuing this goal because I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop because I know I'm number one. I know I deserve the number one top spot, and I will get it before I'm done with powerlifting. But being the best in the world doesn't necessarily mean records or totals or anything like that. I want to inspire people every single day to be the best version of themselves that they possibly can be. And that's really what it all boils down to.
Well, I think you've been doing this for a long time, and you maybe didn't see this in yourself. You maybe didn't see the Bama Burr that we all see as someone who does inspire people. And I think the fact that you didn't have to reach out far to people to get some help is a true testament to that. Like, all you had to do was put it out there in the world, like, something's not right, and people swarmed you, because that's the impact that you have on people, and that's the impact that you have on the community. So we all knew this about you.
It's just, sometimes you can't see the forest for all the trees. Sometimes the way that you look in the mirror, it's just like somebody, I've worked with clients before. They'll start out, they'll be, over 200 pounds, and they just can't see anything beyond that. They'll lose 50 pounds. They'll look great. Their body composition changes. Everything about them changes except for in their mind. And they still look in the mirror and they see themselves, and they have, quote unquote, their fat girl goggles on. That's what one of my clients used to call it. She's like, I guess I just still have my fat girl goggles on.
Oh, we all know that feeling.
I mean, don't we all? We're all females here, but I really feel like I just had my fat goggles still on, for better lack of terminology. But I knew what I was doing, and I knew that every single decision I made, every single move that I made was for a purpose. But when I looked in the mirror, I still wasn't satisfied with who I was. I wasn't satisfied with who I was because I really didn't know who I was. I knew that I was chasing these records and this goal, this in-game goal, that's incredible. It's incredible, and it's super far-fetched, and it really doesn't make sense to anybody but me. But I let myself get really consumed with that over what I was actually trying to do. So while my individual decisions and like the impact that I was making, I knew I was doing it, but I looked in the mirror and still saw just not enough. Just someone that wasn't where I needed to be, and I wasn't enough. But the fact of the matter is, I've always been enough. But it's just taken, I had to really realize that. I had to look in the mirror and finally see what everybody else saw. And it's a really big step for me, because I never have really given myself much credit. And I don't know really where I'm about to go with this conversation, but I've never really given myself credit. I've always been around people that are smarter than me, that are stronger than me, because all I want to do is learn. I want to be around people that are better than me so I can learn. And so, but what that's done is put me in a position of feeling less than, because I never was, the domineering personality. I never was the one that knew the most in the room. I always wanted to be surrounded by people that knew more. But then once I realized that I had actually, learned a little bit, and I was able to apply it, I was able to help, I was able to coach, I was able to teach, I realized that my value is way, way, way higher than what I ever really thought it was, because all the while I just thought I was lifting weights, and that's not even close to what it really is. So that's where I am now.
So I think a lot of athletes have this where the drive, like that feeling of not being enough, motivates you to try to be more, and like it's never enough. But you just had a super successful meet.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't a bad meet. I'll say it wasn't a bad meet. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't enough in theory. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'll go ahead and tell you. I think it was a 1390 total, which was the all-time world record in reps for 148. I squatted 545 pounds, which is the all-time world record squat in reps for 148. I have both the all-time world records for the squat and 148, and I still don't know how to squat. It's kind of funny. I tell people, like, I don't know how to squat, and they're like, yeah, right. I just know how to stand up. That's really, honestly, all. Like, if there's a weight there, I'm going to stand up with it. I don't know how to squat. When I learn how to squat, everybody will be in trouble. But, you know, and then I benched 319 and I pulled 523. My third attempt pull, what I was going to have to break the all-time highest Wilks in the history of powerlifting and secure that number one spot that I've been gunning for my entire life since I came out of the womb. I was going to have to pull a 562, and the most I'd ever pulled at that current moment in time was 535. I knew I was capable of it. And it sounds far-fetched when you think about it, but I knew based on the volume, based on the work, based on everything I had done that prep, I knew I was strong enough to do it. Me and my coach, we got in a little bit of a scuffle the day of the meet. He knew what I wanted. He knew my end game goal. He knew that I wanted to walk away and be the number one powerlifter in the world. And I pulled 523, and it was pretty fast. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fast. I mean, for a fact, it was the fastest I've ever pulled it. And I walked off, and the whole entire day, I let Trevor, who was my coach, I let him call all my numbers. I'm an athlete, but my coach, he knows better than I do. I'll never want to, question the decision he makes. I want him to make the call because he knows more than me, and that's just how it is. I'm an athlete, and I'm coachable. So he didn't ask me any kind of questions all throughout the day. This was the first time he asked me a question. He said, Stacy, do you want to build 14 plus? Because I think I'd be the lightest female to total 14 raw. I'm pretty positive of that, actually. And so I could do something that, historically has never been done before, or I could go for what I really wanted, which was that number one top spot. So I was basically risking that 1,400, historical total, or I could get the number one powerlifter in the world, not male, female, the number one spot based on Wilks. And, I'm not really a huge fan of the Wilks calculation in the first place, just, disclaimer, because there are a little bit of discrepancies with it, but that's what we have. That's the uniting factor that basically, on paper, that's going to be what determines top to bottom. So I went for it. And Trevor asked me, he said, what do you want? He's like, do you want all of it, or do you want to build 14? And I looked at him, and the way what he told me, he said smoke started coming out your ears. He said your jaw clenched. He said your body, he said your your body language was just tense, tight. And I just looked at him. I just stared at him. And I didn't say anything. And then he said, I think we should build the 14. And we, there's always other meets. And I just said, okay, and I walked away. And when I say I walked away, I walked away aggressively, for sure. I didn't say anything, but I felt it. I felt it deep, and it hurt. And I felt like he didn't believe in me. I felt like I was, mad. I was angry. I was like, he doesn't think I can do this. I was furious, and I was like, why am I here? I was like, I didn't come here for 14. I didn't come here for a number. I was like, I didn't even come here for the record. I came here to finally reach what I know I'm capable of. I wanted that number one spot. And so I was pacing in the back. I was just, upset. I was just angry. Not vocalizing anything, but just being Bama. And then Trevor came around the corner and he's like, said something. Don't know what he said, but I was like, it's not enough. He's like, yeah? You don't think so? And I was like, nope, it's not enough. He's like, cool. He's like, I changed the attempt. He said what I was going to put on there was 550 or whatever. He's like, it only lasted on the paper, he said, for about 12 seconds. He said, as soon as you walked away and I could tell how mad you were, he said, I knew you could do it. He said, I wanted to see you get mad because, he said, that proved to me that you knew you could do it. He said, had you said, Trevor, I think that's the right call with the 14, he said, that would have indicated that you weren't sure of it. That would have indicated that you weren't confident that you could do it. He said, you got mad, Stacey. He's like, I've never seen you like that. He's like, I knew that you could do it because you got so angry about it. I was like, yep, 100%. So I was like, so we're sending it? And he's like, yeah, we're sending it. And I was like, then I was just like, it was like it changed, flip switch. I was there. I knew that I could do it. And so I came up short. And that's the first time I've ever passed out pulling. I yanked it off the floor, and it was probably 75% of the way there, and it just hit that stopping point that Stacy always stops at. And I just kept pulling. And I knew in that moment, I could still see it. I feel it. I knew in that moment, if I kept pulling, if I just kept pulling, it was going to come, because I knew how hard I had worked for it. And I knew if I just didn't stop, it was just going to come. And it didn't. And that's the first time I've ever passed out from pulling. And I watched the video. My videographer, Mitch, he did a great job. And part of the video that he had, some of the footage, when I went down to the floor, my hands were still on the bar. Like my hands were still on the bar when I collapsed to the floor, and I just wouldn't stop pulling. And really, like, I don't know. I've had a lot of hurts in my life. I've had a lot of things that just, like, it's really hard to explain how it feels. When I stood up from that one, it was rough. It was hard, but, like, it was like I was a gallant, like, soldier. And, like, I not comparably to war, not comparably to fighting. Like, that's not even the case. It's just like I stood up, and people were just wildly just supportive. They were like, holy crap. A, she's insane, but B, wow, just that she went for it. Like, that she really, like, went for it. And, you know, I was upset with myself. I'm not going to lie. I was upset with myself. I beat myself up for probably 2-3 days. I was like, Stacy, I was like, you had your shot and you missed it. I literally, people were telling me, congratulating me left and right. I just couldn't even accept it. I couldn't accept it because it's the same thing. I had my fat goggles on. I had my not enough goggles on. I was just like, I broke the all-time world record total. I broke the all-time world record squat. I benched a PR and, you know, I pulled 523 pounds, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for where I wanted to be, my goal, my end game. And so I couldn't even accept the positivity. I couldn't even accept it. I was just so hurt and disappointed with myself that I didn't take the time to really appreciate what I'd done or even think about the fact that I had enough balls to go up to that weight and attempt it. Until I had somebody tell me, they were like, Stacy, they were like, what was your best pull and, you know, your meet prep? And I was like, 535. I was like, a questionable 535. Like, it was probably, Trevor had to convince me that I actually locked it out because I didn't think I did. He said I did. I didn't think I did. I still don't think I did. But we're going to count it. But, you know, the girl was like, just the fact that you went up to it and tried it, like, because you knew you could, she's like, I've never seen something like that. I've never seen a level of confidence in that. And, like, it just really opened up my eyes that, like, yeah, I shot the shot and I missed. But had I pulled 550, built the total, I would have been livid. I'd have been livid because I would have sold myself short of my potential. And I never would have known. I never would have known had I been able to do it on that given day. I never would have known. And so for me, what I did, yeah, it was an outstanding performance on paper. It was an outstanding performance just in real life. But the most outstanding thing about it was really just having people see that you can go for it. I've gotten so many messages since of just mainly females. And I think that's what's really interesting to me because females, for the most part, and I coach a lot of females, they're so scared. Most of them are so scared they don't have that confidence. And I've had so many females. I had one chick, she messaged me, she's like, we pulled a Bama Burr. And I was like, what'd you do? And she's like, me and my coach, we went for it. We went for the win and we put on like 10 more kilos than I've ever pulled. And she said, and I pulled it. She said, and I pulled it. And I've got chill bumps just sitting here talking about it because that's how important this is to me. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get you to go for it. Because the main thing with people, for the most part, we hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back because all we do is this negative self-talk. We have these pity parties. We sabotage ourselves into believing that we're not as strong as what we are. We sabotage ourselves so that way we don't have to worry about falling short of our goals because our goals aren't high enough. So, okay, cool. We reached our goal, but your goal was to do this little tiny thing when you know you're so much more capable. And guess what? I realized that because I failed. I realized that because I didn't get what I wanted for the second time in a row. So guess what? I pulled myself out of my little hole and stopped being sorry for myself. I gave myself about 2 days when I was just like, poor me, I never get what I want. But then I was like, you know what? You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. And guess what? That wasn't there today. Somebody was like, well, what happened? Did you lose it? What happened? And I was like, I wasn't strong enough. And they're like, whoa, what? And I'm like, I wasn't strong enough to pull it then. And they're like, want to hear an excuse. Everybody wants to hear a good solid excuse. Well, I lost it. The bar came out from in front of me. Like, I wasn't strong enough on the day. I didn't execute and I didn't do it. I didn't do my job, but there's always going to be other opportunities. But I shot the shot. And I put the weight on the bar. And that's just sometimes what you got to do and one of the things that I say, and a lot of people seem to resonate with it, is I tell myself, It's not about if I'm going to do it or if I'm not going to do it. It's just how fast I'm going to do it, because I don't set myself up for doubt in any way, shape, form. I don't set myself up for failure. So whenever I miss that pool, what's plan B? I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't think this through. Clearly, there was no other option. You know, if you put your back against a wall in a do or die situation, that's what I encourage people to do. I encourage people to put themselves in a situation where it's do or die, because when you put yourself in that situation, you're going to really, really find out what you're made of. You know, if we coast along and stuff, sure, we'll live comfortably and we'll be great. Sometimes, you know, you could excel in life. You could have a ton of success, but if you put yourself in a do or die position, you're going to unlock a potential that you never knew you had, that you never even knew was possible. My whole entire life, people have told me, Stacy, you can't do that. Stacy, you'll never be a speaker. Stacy, you'll never be able to squat that weight. Watch. I might not have everything that I'm supposed to have in order to do what I'm supposed to be able to do, but I will find a way. I still don't know how to squat, and I hold 2 all-time world records. I just figured out how to stand up, and that's the majority of what it takes, is just finding a way. You know, like, I have my degree in exercise science, you know, I've studied all this, but the majority of the application of the things that are the most important things that you've learned, I've learned through experience. I've learned through experience between, you know, putting your back against the wall and making sure you're going to find a way to do it, because I'm not ready to die today. If it's do or die, I'm not ready to die. And so I had a really great performance. Sure, it was great. It's not, you know, it's not what I wanted, but it was enough to do what I'm trying to do. And that's make an impact, and that's reach a group of people that really need it. Because I don't know, I didn't mean to be this. I don't know how I managed to get here, but for some reason, people want somebody to believe in. They want a hero. Everybody wants a hero in some kind of story, and I don't think I'm a hero. I don't think I'm nothing different than you or Becky or anything like that. I'm not different. I'm not. In the term of, like, you know, capability, talent, I didn't come from a very financially wealthy, like, family. You're sitting here in my kitchen in my little tiny house. This is where it was done. My gym that I train at is my little garage back there that I turned into a gym because I didn't have the environment that I needed to grow. So everything that I've done has been a self-made kind of thing. It's been something that I've figured out how to do it, how to make it happen. And people won't, oh, Stacy, you're a freak. No, I'm not. I don't have the genetics that I'm supposed to. I don't have everything right like I'm supposed to, but I find a way to make it work because of what's between my ears, because I have the heart, because I have the mentality, the mindset that I'm not going to give you less than what I'm capable of. And I know what I'm capable of. And I think that's what makes people uncomfortable about me, is that I'm not afraid to say that I am the best in the world. It doesn't have to be weights on a bar. It doesn't have to be totals. I am the best me that I can be, and I know how capable I am. And everybody wants that hero. They want somebody to believe in, because when they have somebody to believe in, it lets them believe in themselves. And so, you know what? Seeing the hero fall, it sucks. Like when your favorite movie star or whatever, oh man, what a terrible ending. Like, Stacy was supposed to get that, dude. Like, that was supposed to be it. That was there. Like, why? But that's not the end of the story. That's just the rising action. That's not the end of the story. It's only the end of the story if you let it be. And so if people want a hero, I'll give you a hero. I'll give you a hero because every single time that I get told no and every single time that I fail, all it does is just make me stronger. All it does is make me stronger. And every single time that I've found myself vulnerable, every single time that I've found myself on my hands and knees questioning myself, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? That's when I get the messages. That's whenever somebody tells me, Stacy, I went to the gym today and I, squatted a PR. I squatted so much and I thought about you. I thought about the things that you said. And I'm normally like, I just got out of like a bad relationship or whatever it is. They find their refuge in the gym. They find their refuge in the gym just like I did. Because powerlifting for me, it's not about weight. It's about showing up every day and investing in yourself to make yourself stronger than what you were mentally, physically, and in the whole 9 yards. That's what it's all about to me. And so if I'm the champion of that, let's do it. That's more than what I ever intended to be. So it's gotten so far beyond what I ever thought this could possibly be. And I'm not even done yet. Because once I finally seal the deal and I reach that number 1 spot, it's going to prove to every single person in the entire world, not just male, not just female, not just powerlifting, it's going to prove that you can do anything that you really, really set your mind to. And you don't have to have the right last name. You don't have to have the biggest bank account. You don't have to have the right equipment. You don't have to have anything but a willing heart and just the ability to learn, to work, and to do what you have to do every single day. And so if you put yourself in the right position, in the right environment, you're willing to do the work, there's nothing that can take away something that's going to always be yours. And I won't stop until I get it, because I have to prove to everyone that you can, because you can. And, knowledge without mileage is crap. So I got to prove it to you guys, because everybody already knows. Everybody already knows, but I have to prove it. I have to prove it because I want to be everybody's champion, because I want everybody to be a champion for themselves. That's my end game goal, is I want everyone to be the best version that they can be of themselves. And so for some way, shape, form, somehow it turned into how much weight I could lift in order to do that. I'll keep on keeping on until the work is done. So it was a great performance. But man, it's so much more than just that. It means so much more to me than just lifting weights for a total. I don't even think 1390 is actually the correct total number, because I didn't even add it up. I think that's what Trevor said it was, and I'm pretty sure it's like 1389.2 or something. I don't know. We're gonna call it 1390, but I'm not a liar. I just don't really know what it is. So, because it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because it's so much more than that.
And this is why we have you on the podcast all the time, because
because I like to talk. Because I like to talk and make your job easy.
Yeah, you're an easy guy.
You're just listening like, wow.
Oh, I am. I have stars in my eyes. But no, but because like it is about more than lifting. And our podcast is more than a podcast about lifting. It's about what that stands for and who you become because of it, and how you impact other people because of it. And the reason that you're everyone's hero is because you don't play it safe. You go for it. Like, you could have played it safe and no one would have blamed you for that. But that's not the Stacy we know. That's not what Bama Burr does.
You know what? Everybody wants to talk trash whenever you shoot the shot and you miss, right? Oh my God, Stacy, you're an idiot. Stacy, you are so stupid. But guess what? You shoot the shot and you make it. You throw the Hail Mary pass in the very last, you do that and make it. And guess what? Oh my God, she's a legend. You're legendary, right? It's weird how that shift changes. But I get it. I know that a lot of people, they're going to hear this like, oh, well, Stacey's going to end up hurt or in the hospital. I would be in the hospital already if that was the case. I pray a lot, so I'm good. But, I don't play it safe. And is it the smartest thing to do? Possibly. No, I never said I was the smartest person in the world. I never said I was the smartest lifter in the world. But I am the lifter, and I'm going to win. I'm going to find a way to win.
You inspire that in other people. Mm-hmm. Like you were just talking about the girl with the squat, and she went for it, and you handled me in my second powerlifting meet ever. And I think my final deadlift, I was like fighting with myself about what I was going to pull. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know.
Yes,
and I was
chill bumps. Yes, I remember.
And I was like, I was
what
calling
number?
the shots
I can't
that day.
remember.
I don't remember
what
either.
Was,
I don't know what I was fighting over. I remember what I pulled. I don't remember what. And I was like, it's either this one or that. And one of them would have been like a 5-pound PR, and the other one was like a 15-pound PR or something. And I have no idea why. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, Stacy's standing right there. If I play it safe, like, what the fuck? I can't do that. Like, Stacy's standing there. And so I was like, well, I'm going to be mad at myself if I don't find out. If I don't find out, I could have pulled that. Because my ultimate goal was 400, but I wasn't up to that point. Mm-hmm. So I think I pulled like 380. And I had no idea if I could pull that. Like, I had just PR'd like 10, 15 pounds less than that like 2 weeks prior. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, wow, Stacy's here, and now's the time to do it.
Now's the time to shine. And I don't know what that is, but I've had a lot of people that oh, Stacy's here, so I've got to show up. And if that's the type of energy that I can draw from people, I'll show up anywhere you want me to be. Like when I give these seminars, people just automatically are like, oh man, Stacy's here. I don't want to inspire, like, don't be an idiot, don't be rambunctious and, make bad decisions. But I want to really draw the best out of people. I want people to feel confident in themselves because of what I'm capable of, because of what you've seen me do. So it worked. You pulled it, didn't you?
I did. I pulled it. And you said to me, I went and sat down and you said, show me how bad you want this. And I was like, oh, I'm going to show you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Don't you worry. I'm going to show you.
It's not even an option. How fast are you going to pull it?
I knew I was going to be mad. I knew I was going to be mad if I missed it. I knew I was going to be mad if I made a lower attempt that I didn't try for it. So I was like, I'm fucked. I'm going to be mad either way. So I just have to take this attempt.
So if you're going to be mad either way, you might as well shoot for greatness.
Exactly.
I mean, so at least if you shot the shot and you missed, at least you went for it. You know? I mean, playing it safe is never going to really get you really anywhere, to be honest. I mean, you're just going to spin your wheels because playing it safe, look at anybody that's really ever accomplished anything great. For the most part, you have to take a risk. You have to take a risk, but with the bigger risk, there's the bigger reward. And that's what it's all about, always. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. And guess what? With, taking big risks, there are consequences. There are consequences because, for sure, I was upset with myself because I missed. But then you just have to also realize, with risks, there are consequences if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to be. There isn't a plan B. But guess what? That, consequence is going to make you better. That consequence is going to help you grow. And guess what? The next time, I'm still going to take the risk. And hopefully and ideally, I'm going to make sure that situation doesn't happen again because of the, negative consequences that I've had to deal with. I want to make sure that I don't set myself up for that same thing, because when you know how bad second place sucks, when you know how it feels to lose or miss a lift, you want to make sure that you never feel that way again. So in your training, you think about it. For the longest time, my lock screen was me right at the top of my deadlift at the open, not able to lock it out. Like it was at the very, very top and I couldn't lock it out. And that was my lock screen for the longest time. I wanted to look at it and I wanted to see what it felt like. Because I remember walking off stage. I remember how it felt to lose. And I didn't want that to happen at this meet. I, without a doubt, 150%, I knew that I was going to pull that deadlift. I was wrong. But it's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make, a decision that might not be the right decision, but the best thing for you to ever do is just make a decision, period. Because if you play it safe, or if you're just kind of, I don't know what I should do, that's whenever you're going to be in that gray area. You're not actually going to make progress. You need to be able to make a decision, stick with it, stand by your decisions, do what you got to do. And really, at the end of the day, I don't care if anybody thinks I'm stupid. I don't care if people think, Stacy, she just doesn't make smart choices. Well, I'm still better than you, so guess what? It doesn't really matter.
It's in those risks, no matter how it went, that you learn something about yourself.
Absolutely.
You either learn that you're a hell of a lot stronger than you thought you were, or you're pissed off about it and you learn something from that experience. Either way, when you take the risk, you're going to learn.
Yep, you're always going to learn, and you always have to put yourself in the situation where you can learn the most. Put yourself in the situation where you can learn the most. And I think that's honestly one of the best things that I've done for myself is I've put myself in situations where I was very, very vulnerable. I wasn't sure what my next move was. And, in that situation, you see what you really want. Because if you don't have a plan B, you're going to have to figure out what you got to do to get where you need to go. Because a lot of times when we just play it safe, we're basically just floating. We're just in space living. We don't have a destination. The journey's just driving down this long, long road. There's nothing in sight. But so say if you take the wrong turn, you got to figure out how to get back right where you need to be, right? So even if you make the wrong decision, you're still going to end up being where you need to be because it's going to redirect you back to your end goal. The main thing is just having a goal and having that direction and go for it.
Speaking of plan Bs, not having them in new directions.
I'm not pregnant.
Well, it's not mine either. So you were going to move to Ohio. Mm-hmm. And now you have some new directions. Yeah. And it's very exciting. And I don't know if you really want to talk too much in detail, but can you give us like some little details?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I've had several opportunities just, with everybody. I'm looking to move because I know I need to get out of rural South Carolina. I need to be somewhere where I can make a bigger impact on people. So with making a bigger impact, I need more people. I need more people around me so I can make a bigger impact. Going to Ohio seemed like a good idea because, Ohio is where the Arnold is. There's a lot of powerlifting up there. And so for me now, I powerlift, but really all that is I'm just this overgrown, strong ogre that trains in my garage, and I'm just a little bit, of an outlier. I'm kind of crazy. People don't really know what powerlifting is, so I just needed to be somewhere where powerlifting was more present. And so going to Ohio is going to be working with Nick from Live Large, my sponsor, and that situation didn't really pan out. So I decided
which is okay.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah. Like sometimes situations don't work out, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. We always think that, oh, well, if this is what's going to happen and it doesn't work, it falls through, it's the end of the entire world. Sometimes, you're driving down the road and recalculating, Siri just decides she wants to take you somewhere different, right? I mean, like that's how it works. So recalculating, that wasn't where I was supposed to be, and that's just that wasn't where I needed to be. That wasn't where I needed to be, so I had to figure out where I was supposed to be, because things will always work out how they're supposed to, as long as we listen. If you try to force things, guess what? You're going to force yourself into a situation, into an outcome that's not really what you want. We just have to be aware of our surroundings, to be aware of how the universe works. If something, if that key doesn't want to go in that hole, that key unlocks a door somewhere. But if we try to force it into the wrong door, we're going to bend up the key. We're probably still not going to get in, and then we're just going to have a mess. So instead of doing that, I'd rather find what my key unlocks. So I have an opportunity that's presented itself down in Charleston, South Carolina. We'll potentially be working at a strength conditioning facility, a more powerlifting specific facility, which is actually something that's South Carolina doesn't really have for the most part. And Charleston, South Carolina, there are people there. Shocker, there are people there. It's really weird. It's really weird, actually, because 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago, I tried what I thought I wanted to do was own a gym. I thought I wanted to own a gym because I thought I wanted to open a strength facility. I thought I wanted to open a powerlifting facility, and I was going to basically create this environment because South Carolina doesn't really have powerlifting. It doesn't exist. So I was going to do it 2 years ago, but I got down to the point where I'd found the space and I was about to sign the lease. And I really realized that when I was crunching the numbers, in order to basically just pay the bills, what I was going to have to do was beg people to come in there that were going to be the people that I was trying to get away from. The people that, I was trying to just basically create a different culture. I was going to have to beg them to come in there and ruin my equipment and ruin the environment and just complain about it. Like I was going to have to beg them to be in there just to pay the bills. And I realized that I was going to be compromising what I really wanted just so I could survive. And I decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I put my stuff back here on my property and built from here. Small, humble beginnings. And now, 2 years later, the opportunity is presenting itself that I will have access to a gym, not financially liable to it, but I'll be able to do exactly what I wanted to do. And it's like, had I, finished out and gone through with Ohio and everything, I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity, which is actually what I really wanted. And this opportunity just came about, and, it's not set in stone, but I really just think that sometimes things have to fall apart. Sometimes things have to fall apart, and things that we thought were, sure things. I thought I for sure was going to pull that deadlift, but I think that sometimes the sure things need to fall apart and need to sit there and make you question, well, what now? What am I going to do? Because then you'll figure it out. It's just like that thing of being wrong. Like, it's okay to make a decision and be wrong, but what you really have to do is you have to ask yourself what you want and what opportunity is right for you. Because most people, they sell themselves short. They settle for the opportunity that seems like a good idea. It seems like, okay, this will be promising, and it's, I think this job will be good for me. But it's not really what you want, and we're just settling. We're just taking the little PR rather than going for the big one because we're scared. Because doing things like that, it's scary. What happens if it doesn't work? What happens if you fail? You're going to have to start over, and that's scary. Mm-hmm. But it's through that we find that we get our strongest and we get the best opportunities whenever things don't go the way that we want. Because sometimes the things that we want aren't necessarily what we need. So I've got this opportunity in Charleston, and, I'm finalizing the details and everything with that actually this week. So I'm going to see how that goes, and hopefully we'll have a Empowered by Iron headquarters there. But and what I want to do is I really want to create an environment. I want to, take basically my training company and make like a barbell club. A lot of my local clients want to make it a barbell club, so we have a team environment. So everybody's training together. There's like camaraderie. There's people spotting and loading. It's like an environment, because powerlifting, people don't understand how awesome the powerlifting community really is until you go to a meet and you have people you've never looked at before or laid eyes on. They're cheering for you because they want you to get this lift. And, that's just something in modern day culture that doesn't really exist. You have your best friends that are sitting there talking behind your back like, oh, I don't know if she's got this in her or not. But you have people that are looking you in the face, never seen you before, like, you gonna lift this or what? Like, and it's just really, really refreshing to be around people that want to bring out the best in you, that want nothing more than just to see you succeed, because nobody wants to see anybody get crushed underneath the weight. I don't care if it's your worst enemy. Nobody ever wants to see anybody fail anything that they believe so strongly in. And it's just really cool, and I'm really glad to be a part of it. And I'm really glad to see where powerlifting has come since I first started in South Carolina. I first started and I had to travel to Georgia. I had to travel to Florida. That's where I always competed. I competed a handful of meets in South Carolina. But actually one meet, and it was at Donnie Thompson's compound, my very first meet. That's the only one I think I did in South Carolina, because it's the only one that existed. Backyard federation, just kind of meet, but that's all there was. And now we have USPA South Carolina with Gary and Trisha, who I help them set up at meets and help them just go places. And wow, just the amount of growth that we've already had. And if I get this up and running, and not saying that it's solely me, but if I get this, and help create this culture, South Carolina and the Carolinas can actually really be a spot, like a hotbed of powerlifting. It can really grow. It's just you have to have a gardener. You have to have somebody that's going to cultivate it. And I don't know, that's just something I've always been good at, is really just taking care of things, giving things. And then whenever, say you got a garden and I cultivate, then guess what? It's going to give me back. It's going to give me back, and I'm just really excited about it. So
Listen, when I found out that you were going to be going to Ohio, I had two immediate thoughts. One, I'm so excited for Stacy because she deserves every opportunity in the world. And then two was, this is a huge loss for powerlifting in the state of South Carolina. It would have been.
I actually had a lot of people reach out to me and message me from South Carolina. Like, don't get me wrong, there's not a lot that happens in South Carolina, and nobody here asks me to do seminars. Nobody here asks me to come to their gym and speak. I'm not really sure what it is, but then whenever I said, hey guys, I'm up and moving, they're like, crap, like, no, come back. And I'm like, well, you've never really paid me any attention until I'm leaving, but hey, well, maybe it was just a publicity stunt. Maybe I was just telling you guys I was leaving, and I was like, psych, that never was the plan in the first place.
Well, right. So then it was Saturday. We were messaging on Instagram, and I knew you were going to be moving away, and I was like, Mary, we need to see Stacy before she leaves, and blah, blah. And then you're like, yeah, I actually got some stuff to talk to you guys about, and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, well, let's see you before you leave for Ohio. And you're like, well, about that, I might not be going. And I was like, Mary, we're going to Darlington. We're getting in the car. We're going. Like, what is going on? That was
Saturday, and this is Tuesday.
And today's Tuesday. That's right. Like, clear your schedule. We're out of here. Like, we got to go find out what's up. Regardless of whether you don't always, whether you're not in South Carolina forever. I mean, powerlifting will continue, and you've made a huge impact on powerlifting in this state. Selfishly, as a powerlifter in this state, hearing that it looks like you're staying here makes me really excited. And for all the rest of the powerlifting.
I've heard that a little bit. And actually, it's really, I don't know, it makes me really happy, because just sometimes you just don't see the forest for all the trees. You just don't see what you've done and what you've really built until you take a second and you just look back at it. Like, and I look back where I started and when I started powerlifting wasn't cool. Like, powerlifting was like the weirdo sport. Like, I started doing powerlifting because I was the outlier. I was the weirdo. I was the one that yelled and screamed in the gym, and I didn't get along with anybody. I just mind my own business, a little lone wolf. And now powerlifting's like, I remember there were no females. There were like 2 females whenever I first competed. There were like me and 2 other girls. And I think that was really it. Now the meets that you go to, it's 60% or more female. And to me, that is so cool. Like, that is so cool because women are being empowered by iron. But, like, women are seeing like how to, like, they're gaining this confidence. They're doing all these things that like they never thought they could. And it's growing and growing and growing. And it's just really bringing in more females because of the empowerment that it brings. And I'm not necessarily like the hugest, I'm not the biggest feminist in the world or anything like that, but wow, it's just so cool to really see anybody be empowered, anybody's life change because of the barbell, because that's what happened to me. I couldn't fit in. I didn't have anything to really, I was bullied. I had low self-esteem. Where I found myself at, where I found my sanity, and the only factor I could control all the time was me and going to that gym. The gym didn't care about my feelings. The gym, weight didn't care how much I weighed, what I looked like. Instead of doing bodybuilding, I decided on powerlifting. Why? Because bodybuilding, people are looking at you. They're grading you on what you look like. And to me, that's what I wanted to get away from. Powerlifting, you did it or you didn't. So if you put in the work, guess what? You were going to get the result. And so for a lot of women, if you've been told no, or like, hey, you go get in the kitchen to make me a sandwich, just make sure the ratio is right. But I mean, like, it's not so much that anymore. It's just what you've been told for the longest time, that you weren't strong, that you were weak, that you didn't have a voice. You can be whatever you want to be. You can be strong. Just invest in it. You can be more than what you are. And so it's just so empowering. It's so cool to watch it grow. It's so cool to watch the numbers change, just the environment change. And now it's just the entire culture. It's an entire culture. And that's just something I'll forever be grateful for, because I've just been living. Like, I've just been living, and I've been competing, and I've been doing everything that I know I need to do every single day, right? Every single day, I've just been trying to put one foot in front of the other and make an impact in one way, or another. And it's just cool to look back on it and know that every single day that I've done, I have done something. Because when you're doing things daily, it seems like habit. It seems like not anything special. It's just routinely what I do. People call me, "What you doing today, Stacy?" And I say, "Taking over the world. What are you doing?" That's just my response to everything. Like, if people that listen to this, probably 10 people that I've talked to are like, "Yeah, that's what she actually says." But, it's about the things you do every day. It's about making changes. It's about really, really just coming to terms with yourself and who you can be. And the potential, realizing that the potential that you have is limitless. So that's just really, really cool for me. And I'm glad I'll be staying, in theory, in South Carolina for indefinitely, or as long as I need to. So here we are.
And here we are.
Well,
we're so excited to see what you do next. I mean, it's always a surprise.
Stay tuned. It's a surprise to me.
Well, it's exciting because we get to be a part of your journey as you do it. And we're not catching you 20 years down the road. We're getting to actively see you make all these life changes. And I think that that's so cool.
Just today's news in the life of Bama.
Today in the life of Bama. Where can everyone find you on social media? And if they want to reach out to you for training, where can they find you?
My name on Instagram is Bama Burr.
BAMABURR. No spaces.
All lowercase.
This is ASMR.
My name is Stacy Burr on Facebook and on my birth certificate. My gym that I have now is Bad Dog Barbell. and that's in Darlington, South Carolina. You can schedule one-on-one personal training with me, or you can also contact me. My training company is Bama Brick Squad Training, and that's where I train all my athletes. My roster is currently full, so I always try to make sure I don't take on too many clients as far as the online goes, because I want to give a service. I want to make sure I give, proper service. So I'm currently full, but check with me after February, because I should be opening up some more spots, because I'm actually expanding my training company as well. So, I might be hiring a couple coaches that I've grown by hand. So that way, I know if I've taught them, I know they're all right. They're respectable. They're respectable. I don't even want to talk to you. I'm done with this whole thing. I'm done with this podcast thing. But yeah, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. Bama Burr, Stacy Burr. Holla back at your girl.
Holla back. All right, guys. We will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.